Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching The Gifted Season 2 Episode 12, Home. I'm so sorry this is so late. The last week I was really ill and I'm feeling not 100% better now, but better enough that I can focus on the episode and I can't wait any longer to watch The Gifted. This show, it's killed me not being able to watch it, so I'm so scared. I think like the tension I'm feeling has got worse and worse, but yeah, I'm really sorry it's late. I will stop rambling and I will just start watching.
Seriously?
14 years.
He sparkles and he's like incredibly
Grease.
handsome. Yeah. You know, the thing about bed rest is you actually have to be in bed for it to work.
Oh, your boss.
Well, she's not my boss.
Okay, well, whatever. But if I can see past it, so can she.
It's a good point.
She knows.
We have to figure out what she's planning.
I think it is the best plan is for Lorna to be on the inside, finding the information, even though he just wants her to be safe. You've got this, Lorna. You can do it.
Then we go in person.
Even worse idea!
Summit.
Danny helped us when you were in jail.
And you nearly
But it's
got
very
killed.
dangerous because they'll be watching
There's no
him.
reason for him to help us now.
Or more
I think
of a reason to steer clear.
He probably would help them,
Habit
but
enough for number one.
definitely a good idea that Lauren goes with her. No, I'm stressed. Please stay away from the music box, okay? Just smash it. Practice your powers by smashing the music box. Does she read German? Okay, good. I was gonna say. Don't more than 2 words at a time, Lauren.
Fenris has 2 sides, the light and the darkness.
So it always did have a light and the darkness.
As my sister and I battle, so you must battle. Only when you know each other's strength and embrace your opposing forces will you be whole.
Oh my god. So if they get hurt in the dream, it hurts them in real life?
It was Lauren.
Well, you know, payback's a bitch.
Lauren and I have these dreams.
Don't tell them.
Bring her here.
Good luck with that.
Well, we can help you with that, if you let us.
What do you mean?
Force her. Wonderful.
Your mind is connected to Lauren's. We can reach her through you.
No. It's a violation.
About the power we could have if we bring Lauren over.
I've been wondering all season why they weren't more interested in trying to get Lauren here.
Or she has to die.
Because the power of Fenris. Well, you can shut up with that, okay? Because Lauren can just kill you instead. Or send you to prison. I don't want anyone to die.
Not a place where good stuff happens.
Eventually said that Erg's just...
How long has it been since it's been in the bright sunlight?
Nice coming. Where are we going? Evangeline is meeting other leaders.
Oh, destroy the music box for me! Or is it going to draw him in too? Because he's got the blood of Fenris. Oh. Did he find it as a kid? Someone has got to destroy this thing. Oh my god, is it going to trigger his powers? Shut the music box! Or disintegrate it with your powers! Oh, has he found the secret compartment with Lauren's translated letter?
Danny, we need your help.
True enough.
Just tell them the truth
I
then.
found some of the story.
Tell them.
After
She wouldn't really do that, would she?
Probably would.
She wouldn't.
I mean, they wouldn't, but she would.
Andy's one of the terrorists.
I don't know if that's the best way to get him to trust you, but hopefully it will.
we got it.
Oh gosh, they're starting already.
Targets.
I'm just gonna go slay a dragon.
I don't know how she can get this information because they're all keeping it very close to their chests. And she's already been quite obvious with her desire to know. Oh god, of course, slay the dragon. Going to the meeting of the underground. Perfect target.
Can we call a
Don't break any speed limits because if you get arrested, that would be very bad too.
If you would try something like that.
No, you wouldn't.
If you could. But what if you could make him believe?
He wouldn't really believe it though, would he?
We'd be together.
You're gonna run out of that stuff eventually. Or can they make more now they have some?
What wisdom did you share with him exactly?
The truth?
That a threat?
Yep.
Just the truth. Stay out of things that don't concern you.
What if Andy comes to her for advice? She has every right to give it to him. Too late, oh my god. Are they all dead?
We gotta get down there.
I thought they'd at least have a bit of a fight or get there in time.
Where Blink, the woman you claim to love, has to hide who she is.
Claim to love is a very harsh.
You son of a bitch! You want to lose your other eye? Huh?
Stop! Both of you. One more.
This is going terribly. He's already injured enough. Oh, I see both sides of it. Like, I don't think the Morlocks are evil or wrong, but
15. Okay. Seriously?
don't get distracted in your nice bonding
Who
moment.
are you? I attacked him. And I won. Don't know how I feel about it.
He has mixed up feelings, definitely.
You know I can't do this.
What is it?
Oh my god, he had a wire.
What is that?
Run!
They have people in the government.
Homeland Security's compromised. The Attorney General's office. I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe even Congress.
Go!
Okay.
Get in the car.
Yep, Lauren can do this. I'm so glad she trained her powers. She's definitely stronger.
It was a very close call.
Manipulation, so much manipulation, and he's a little child.
Let's help you reach out to her.
You can't take away someone's free will and force them to join you.
I've
That's
been thinking
disgusting.
about it, if she's gonna be here, she should at least believe in what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, manipulating her is not.
Manipulating? Who said anything about
That's all you ever do is what you're doing to Andy right
I want to
now.
help you. Your parents won't be far behind.
As if
Andy,
Caitlin would be
you
allowed.
can save.
I don't think Andy's made a decision for himself all season. Cruz.
She was dead. I love you too much to watch you kill yourself.
Oh dear.
I'm saying goodbye.
Oh, I was worried something like this would happen, but it won't be forever. Oh dear. Don't go to sleep. Stay awake.
I should try to get some sleep.
No, she really shouldn't. I'm stressed.
Or worse.
You can beat this fight against the darker impulses.
A powerful woman with a very special gift. A gift for chopping up police cars. You mean that's a good thing? I mean,
You didn't
you were
attack
protecting
anybody.
your family.
You could have directed your powers at humans and you didn't.
I'm proud of you, Lauren.
I'm proud too.
Stress is bad for your dad.
He's having his own issues with that today.
No, I couldn't stand her, actually. Never liked lawyers. Or dragons.
She knew you were on our side. She thought it was the only reason we might win.
They want Lauren.
Thank God they're gonna know.
If they got both of them, Marcos, I don't want to even think about what they could do. You, me, and Don could all be together.
You will one day. In a peaceful world.
And now I just...
We'll get there.
Well, I should go before...
Can you let them know that,
I'm gone.
emphasise the fact that the Frosts are going to use the Frost's abilities to try and get Lauren, because I feel like that's a vital part of it. They're going to, you know, manipulate and brainwash because, welcome to the sewers.
You'll get used to it.
Don't know if that's a good thing.
Thank you for taking me in.
You made
He's
a
been
brave
desperate to take you in
Doesn't feel that
all
way.
season. I don't like the Underground getting even more split up. Like, we got Lorna back and Arcturus and the Morlocks. I mean, the Morlocks is a much more ethical choice. Be careful you don't overdose on the stuff. Or it might stop working, or...
I'm fine, honestly.
Is he not going to mention that he's
More
found the
worried
letter?
about you guys.
Hopefully, we can help.
I mean, that's not strictly true, that he's doing anything to help anymore. Oh, John. He's kind of lost everything, and then lost everything, and then lost everything. Maybe he and Marcos could just share a flat now. you know, be sad together. Although Marcus is less sad than he was. You're gonna get through this. I know you did what you believed in, but I don't know. It's just all so messy. Like, I don't think the Morlocks is sustainable. Smash the music box! Don't go to sleep. I'm very stressed. Oh no.
Yeah, I think so.
Andy, don't do this. Andy. Also, I don't think I could fall asleep if I had them standing over me. Don't do it. God, he has no, like... Oh, don't end like that. At least me being ill last week means that I have less than a week to wait for the next episode after that ending. I'm very stressed for Lauren. Andy, I get he's a child, like he's 15, and he's just been brainwashed. Well, no, he hasn't been brainwashed in the way Caitlin says, but he's been pushed further down the path. He's had, you know, any time where he started to have doubts, he's had adults manipulating him back into where they want him to be. And like even this episode, you know, at the beginning of the episode, he was quite like, well, no, Lauren wouldn't, there's no way Lauren would want to be here. You know, that she'd never believe it. You'd have to manipulate her. And then the Frost was just like, oh no, we wouldn't. But we'll help you. Like, it's just so obvious that the way they would get Lauren here is by brainwashing her into doing it. You know, it's by taking her thoughts and twisting them and making them not her and taking away her choice and her control, which is disgusting and wrong. And yet they've managed to make Andy not see that, because Andy is very easy. He's very easy to convince. He has been, or he's partly because he's young, and he's also just a character who it's very easy to convince him that your way is right, especially if he's slightly like, you know, he wants Lauren, he wants his sister, he misses his family. So then you can take that desire of his and warp it into full-blown take away their agency and their free control, which isn't good. And I know he's a kid, but Andy, yeah, that's one of his worst qualities, and this season it's been taken advantage of completely. I'm glad that Lorna was able to tell Marcos that they're after Lauren, and hopefully that means that when Lauren has a terribly strange dream, hopefully they won't it won't succeed in one go. They'll be able to figure out that's what's happening and help her. Oh, I mean, I honestly, like, I remember in the pilot saying, or not in the pilot, in the first episode of season 2, saying that I was surprised that the Inner Circle weren't more interested in trying to get Lauren. And, you know, I was wondering to myself, maybe the Frost would try and brainwash or whatever, because the power of Fenris together, Andy's powerful, Lauren's powerful, but their power together, they could, you know, achieve, they could have just killed all the people, of Angelina and everybody without bothering to free 3 mass psychopathic murderers from prison. They could have just used them. So I think it was going to happen eventually. And yeah, I think I'm very stressed. I mean, I like that Lauren is staying true to herself. You know, she has dark impulses, but everyone does. You know, no human, no person is black and white good. You know, no person is going to be just never have a single dark thought ever, because, you know, that's just not right. And every single time Lauren has used her powers, even in this episode when she was defending herself against the Sentinel service agents shooting at them, she could have sliced into one of the agents, and she didn't. She just hit the cars, bumped things into them. She's not yet hurt anybody. She's not gone out with the intention of using her powers to hurt anyone, and that is the difference. In that situation, Andy would have been blasting people left, right and centre, you know, not caring who he killed, breaking legs and laughing about it. So I think that is the difference between them that makes Lauren is better. I think Andy accused her of something she was better than him. She is. That's my opinion, don't kill me. But I like that she's so true to that now the Frosts are realising that if they want her, they're going to have to try and manipulate that. So if she does succumb into the darkness, does get pulled into Andy's darkness, it's Andy's darkness, it's not hers. It would be horrific to watch, so tragic and so awful, but it wouldn't be Lauren as a character being destroyed, if that makes sense. It wouldn't be Lauren doing things that Lauren would never do. It would be Lauren doing things she would never do because she's having her free will taken away, you know, which is kind of, she can get back from very easily. But my biggest fear was that the writers would destroy her character somehow by have her just suddenly go evil. But if it happens like this, it will kill me. But I believe in her, and I believe she'll be strong enough to fight against Andy. But I also would like to believe that she's going to be strong enough to defeat this anyway, or hopefully Andy will see sense. I don't know. I'm very stressed for the next episode, but also very excited to see what happens next, because I can't wait any longer. So on the subject of Lauren, I like some of the moments she had with Caitlin. I think it's good that they were able to have those kind of quiet moments where they talked about things almost like things were normal. Caitlin, I liked what she said to Lauren about it being her power and her she should choose what she does with it. Just one thing that I kind of wish from Caitlin, there was a little bit more of her saying to Lauren, be careful, do everything you can to help us get Andy back, but don't lose yourself, you know. I feel like Caitlin has not expressed to Lauren the thought of, you know, you're worth something too. I know obviously Caitlin's her mother, obviously Caitlin loves Lauren, but the way she talks about it, it's kind of like, do anything you need to get Andy back, and anything would mean like Lauren dying but they get Andy back, you know. So I think Reed is probably too cautious, but at least from like a parental standpoint that makes sense, because you just won't want your child to go anywhere dangerous whatsoever, whereas Caitlin is kind of like, I don't care what happens to you, Lauren, get Andy back. So again, this episode, there was some good stuff with her talking about believing, like, you know, having that belief in Lauren, and what she said about how she saw a brilliant young woman with an amazing power. Like, yeah, that was all perfect, but just make sure you remind Lauren to look after herself. Lauren is amazing, doesn't necessarily need that reminder, but I just think as a mother, Caitlin should be doing a bit more of that. It was very interesting in the letter, which I'm glad this episode Lauren did translate, because last episode with the voiceover, I was like, Lauren's not going to know what that is. How Fenris was always a light and a dark, and then when they came together, that was the strength of their power. So did that mean that one of them succumbed, like, did the dark one become light? Did the light one become dark? Or did they find a sort of middle ground? Because they were like terrorists running around murdering everybody, so I can't feel like that was the light side of things very much. I mean, unless every single person that they murdered was evil, which even then, you know, there are probably other ways. True light wouldn't kill. You send people to prison, you find a way other than murder. Obviously if it comes down to it in self-defense, you have to kill people sometimes, especially in TV shows. I mean, not in real life, in TV show land. Yeah, oh, it was, yes. And then Reed has read that letter, Reed knows what it says, Reed has felt it himself when he was a kid, he saw it and it impacted his behaviour. You know, he beat up, like, I assume the fact that we saw that montage of him beating up the other kid means that it made him go a bit crazy, so he's going to be aware that this music box or the letter or whatever, that Lauren is being affected by it somehow, and that is another good thing, that he is going to know a bit more about what's up, that this music box is part of the problem, and hopefully he can help next episode if needed. And he activated his powers, so they're still there. I still firmly think he needs to figure out a way to control his powers. I don't think just constantly using this drug is gonna work forever. It's a temporary solution. I feel like when now they've got the drug, they should really not take it for a while, go somewhere like the warehouse they're often in, practice with his powers, try and control them, try and bring them back, just him, you know, no one else in close enough to touch, and then if it doesn't work, take the injection, you know, kind of do something like that, just because it's not going to be able to live the rest of his life taking that drug, because how much of that drug do they have? Can they get more of it? I don't know. Then we have Lorna, and I'm really, really glad that she is so wholly against the Inner Circle now. I find it quite an interesting swerve with her character. It's good because it wasn't expected, but it also means that that faith in the Lorna I loved last season was not misplaced, that the Lorna I loved, and it didn't go anywhere. She'll still be more willing to be violent than the rest of them. I think she'll still be more willing to a few innocent people to get the goal, because that we saw when she blew up the plane. But in a way, I feel like a lot of the other members of the Underground are reaching that point by themselves this season anyway, that sometimes you have to get your hands a little bit dirty to do the thing. But I think they still wouldn't be pro-killing innocent people like Lorna was. But I like that Lorna still has her limit, and I think she would be quite horrified by the idea of forcing someone to join the Inner Circle, and she told Annie the truth with that. And just saying to Marcos that she wants to believe there's a future for the three of them, and Marcos saying there still will be. That shows there's hope from them, which is really good, because they never stopped loving each other and they never did anything. The goal, Lorna's goal was never to hurt Marcos. She did, but I like that there's hope for them, and I like that there's hope for Lorna as a character. Andy, on the other hand, he is just a fool. Esme is still fascinating to me. She's definitely more moral than her sisters, or she's different to her sisters. Now that doesn't mean she's good, that doesn't mean she's going to leave the Inner Circle and join the Underground and try and save lives, of course it doesn't, but she's the more empathetic one, she's more understanding, you know. I think, obviously she's really good at manipulating, they all are, but I kind of believed her when, you know, because it's always Esme that comes to people and has the empathetic approach. Now maybe that's entirely manipulation, that's very possible, but you know, the way she talked about, you know, they need to convince Lauren to join or else we either might kill her or Lorna. You know, Esme's pretty aware that Lorna is not trustworthy. I mean, Lorna has been going around asking very obvious questions a lot. I think everyone's kind of aware. So it'll be interesting to see if Reva knows about that. But Esme did seem a little bit more concerned about Andy, like actually concerned, whereas the other two just have that very fake concern that Andy just falls for every time. So I'm very interested to see more of that dynamic as it keeps going on. And then we have, so this show is really interesting in the sense that it is just destroying the underground. I actually was really hoping this episode was going to be the start of the underground fighting back, the start of the underground reforming, refinding itself, and instead the entire leadership got destroyed. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, they're even worse off than that. And then there was Blink, you know, there was Grease, who we shouldn't call Blink, well, obviously we can call her Blink, she likes being called Blink, John didn't like her being called Blink, to the Morlocks. Now, my issue with the Morlocks is, it's kind of like accepting that you are a separate society, accepting the inequality, accepting that you don't have the same rights as everybody else, accepting that you deserve to live in a place like the sewers rather than in a house in a normal place. Now, I get that that's safer, I can understand the appeal of it, and I think if I was in this world, I might even go to the sewers. You know, I'm not saying I hate the Morlocks, I'm not saying I disagree with the Morlocks, I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to be safe, but it's not a sustainable goal, and it's the sewers, and it's dark, and it's cold, and it's dripping, and they have to eat disgusting food, and they don't have much privacy or space, and it's not long-term sustainable. I don't know, I think having a place like that as a place to keep non-fighters, as a place to keep people safe would be a really good idea, but I think you do need to try and fight for equality, and that doesn't always have to mean literally fighting. If the inner circle weren't here, if there weren't radical mutants around, it would be far easier for people to be making peaceful progress. Think of all the civil rights movements of history. I feel like the Morlocks have quite a defeatist attitude of that, oh, you know, we can't trust any humans ever because there were some bad humans. Well, there are some mutants you can't trust. You know, they could welcome a mutant into the Morlocks who could betray them to the inner circle, or who could run away and get caught and betray them to the central services. You can't trust anybody, technically. So I like the Morlocks. I think they're not evil, they're not bad, but going on as though like they're so much better than the underground, when I think the underground's goals are the best goals. They want equality between the two, and they've got the hardest goal to meet. It would be quite easy for every single mutant to run off into the sewers. Society would probably forget they'd ever been there, but it's not sustainable. There are growing numbers of mutants. It wouldn't work. The inner circle want to just wipe out everyone that opposes them and make a mutant supremacy homeland and get worshipped by all the other mutants. I don't really know. The Mutant Circle's plan is very radical that way. The Morlock's plan is very kind of anti-radical that way. The underground, if they were all working together, it would be so much better. If the underground could just get its hands on all of the inner circle's resources, they could do so much good. I mean, think about, they could just have movements and have campaigns that raise awareness. You know, it's really frustrating to watch the underground disintegrate. I don't hate the Morlocks. I understand Clarice wanted to join them, but at the same time, I think the Morlocks don't ever do anything, same with the Inner Circle, to actively help other mutants. If a mutant stumbles across them, they'll take them in, but they kind of are very passive, and I think there are so many people suffering that I agree that John has been barreling in headfirst too much recently. I think they need to do a lot more planning. They've been too reactionary. They need to kind of be a bit more proactive, or to take a beat, you know, even if you hear about a terrible situation, to stop, to think how are we going to approach this, and then go. They've just been kind of rushing in headlong as they haven't got much of a choice. But I still think trying to help people is brave, it is good, but again, I get Clarice wanting to leave and breaking up. Well, she kind of didn't, she left John because she loved him too much, so there's still hope for that relationship going forwards if somehow things change, and I'm sure they will change, because think how much they've already changed this season from the last season, and just this season on its own. Sage is just hardcore on the Inner Circle. You know, we hardly ever see it, but whenever we do, she's like, this plan is excellent, yep, they're going to go murder some people that I used to call friends, perfect, I'm just going to keep typing. You know, Sage and Fade and all that lot, they have just gone hardcore on the Inner Circle. Lorna is the only one left that there is a shred of hope for, because Andy, there might have been hope for, but he's too easily manipulated. So yeah, that was such a good episode again. I'm so glad I don't have to wait a few days to get to the next one. I'm really worried about Lauren, but I believe in her, and I'm loving this series so much. And again, yeah, once again, I'm really sorry this was late. Thank you for watching.